Yeah, hi everybody. I get around. I've come into town, into Melbourne, to do a bit of filming today. Catch up with my old friend Christina, and hopefully interview my cousin Leo. But while I was here, I thought I'd do some Boer War monuments. So this is the leafy, wealthy suburb of Box Hill. Well, not that wealthy, but it's very much student and very Asian, Korean, lots of Asian restaurants, which were never here, you know, when I was a kid. Some perfectly good stuff being thrown out there. Well, a bit of repairs. But anyway, so we're going to turn right up here and get to White Horse Road. And apparently there is a Boer War monument. These flats look new. I left home about 8 o'clock. No, yeah, about 8. No, earlier. 7:30, I think. And it's now about 9:30. So 2 hours on the freeway. It's a Sunday morning, so traffic was good. I put a podcast on. Right, we're going to walk up here to White Horse Road and we'll find the monument. I'll see you there. Right. Took me on a merry little jig around Box Hill, shopping centres and one-way streets, and because Watt Street is this is White Horse Road. If you follow, this is a main thoroughfare way out to the eastern suburbs. There's actually a white horse statue. I think I can see him over there. But this is the intersection of Watt Street, and Watts is a divided street. That's why it got confused, my GPS. But here we are, eh? Oh, it's a beauty. Look at the lanterns. The lanterns are illuminated. And they've we've got the flowers from Anzac Day. Someone's yelling in their car. Alright, so we've got a few different conflicts here for our colonial forces, and we've got a memorial board. Let's look at it first. I've never seen a China memorial. There were Australians in the Boxer Rebellion. That's what we're standing in front of. It was unveiled on the 21st of January 1902 by Honourable Peacock, the men who served in the Boer War and the Chinese Boxer Rebellion. About the same period of time. I think the Boxers were in 1900. In his stirring address at the unveiling of the monument, the Premier declared that the memorial would always stand as an outward and visible sign to all who passed up and down on the road of the fact that the residents of Box Hill had done their duty. So you guys can read that. Look at that Malmesbury Stone. That's near where I live, Malmesbury. I was there last night. And in 1999 they reconstructed the fountain bowls, taps and lamps. So we're going to look at that. The Corporal Lindsay. It was a big deal when they went off to war. They were especially greeted at the train stations, and when they left and when they got back, quite often there'd be a band come out to see them. Boer guerrillas, the burning of Boer farms. Dorp. 1039 Whitehorse Road, on the corner of Kangarong Road until he died in 1920. The name Dorp is inscribed on the pavement slab below the front gate. That's his house, Dorp. And there's also a Lindsay Street. I don't know Dorp when he says the prisoners. I wonder if he's talking the British prisoners that were held, captured by the Boers. The prisoners of Dorp. Having occupied Middleberg, about 100 miles from Pretoria, on the 27th of July 1900, the British force, which included the 2nd Battalion of the Royal Irish Fusiliers, remained in that area for most of August. There was little further fighting as the British were busy improving communications and garrisoning the area. During this lull in operations, the 2nd Battalion was employed in manning the outposts that protected the approach to the town. When the British renewed their advance along the railway line into Boer territory, the Boers were driven out of the area, but without any decisive engagement. By the end of August, the British had arrived in Dorp, where they released 2,000 British prisoners from a Boer prisoner of war camp. Among the prisoners were 13 officers and 480 men from the 1st Battalion, the Royal Irish Fusiliers, whom the Boers had captured at Nicholson's Neck in October 1899. Here's this gorgeous gold writing. The Corporal's Lindsley, street named after him, Young, Button, Privates Foot, Tout, Brothers, Lear, Needham, Johnson, Rich, Thomas, Ewell, Wheeler, Dunn, Welch, Webster. So this says erected, hang on, to commemorate the loyal and patriotic spirit displayed by the men of this district whose names are inscribed hereon, responding to the Empire's call for volunteers during the wars South Africa and China, 1899 to 1902, in grateful recognition of a divine providence for the return of so many of their number. I'll put back the wreath. Yeah, we didn't lose that many men over there. We lost some. Privates, Duval, probably brothers, Bowman, Wheeler, Welsh, Kaufman, and Too Good. And these are the fountains they've recreated for the... So Button was killed at Wilmansrust. So we certainly know Wilmansrust, don't we? I've done a couple of episodes on Wilmansrust. Look at that. There's a little little ladybug. So I'll stand back to get a good look at it. And I'll read you what the monument website says. So I have the newspaper article dated the 24th of January 1902, and I'll read some of it, but it's quite a long article, so we'll read some, but not all. So the Box Hill Memorial is the title. The ceremony of unveiling the memorial erected at the intersection of Station Street and Whitehorse Road, Box Hill, in honour of the men who went from the Nunawading district to the wars in South Africa and China, was carried out with great elation on Tuesday afternoon, despite the fact there was a heavy downpour of rain about the time fixed for the unveiling. A very large crowd assembled and great interest was manifested in the proceedings. The memorial is in the form of an obelisk, hewn out of red polished granite from Gabo Island, with base of Malmesbury stone. A drinking fountain with taps on each side is attached to the lower portion of the obelisk, while the upper part is adorned with handsome bronze brackets carrying two large gas lamps. Thus the structure is not only a striking ornament to the town, but also serves useful purposes in the direction of thirst quenching and illuminating. On the pedestal was the following inscription, erected to commemorate the loyal and patriotic spirits displayed by the men of the district, etc., etc. The monumental work was carried out by the well-known firm of Messrs. Wilson and Corbin in a highly credible manner. Punctually at 1 o'clock, Councillor Hunter, President of the Shire, from a platform erected near the memorial, briefly stated the object of the gathering, welcomed the visitors and called upon the Premier of Victoria to perform the unveiling ceremony. Premier Peacock, in the course of a stirring address, remarked that the memorial would always stand as an outward and visible sign to all who passed up and down the road of the fact that the residents of Box Hill had done their duty and in doing it had honoured themselves. He was greatly pleased as so many of the younger generation present to join with their elders in doing honour to the men who had left the district to fight for the Empire. These men took up a responsibility not only for themselves, but also for those who'd been left behind, and the latter had only done their duty in recognising the sturdy spirit shown. It was not long since it had been asserted, and he had been chaffed on the point, that the average Australian native would not prove equal to those who had preceded him. The time had come when that assertion had been shown to be false, and the average Australian natives were found to be not a whit behind those of the land from which their fathers and mothers had come. The work now being done in South Africa was not merely the subjugation of the Boers, but it was an object lesson to the whole world. Marshal Soult said, and on the day of the Battle of Waterloo, "I know these English, they will die where they stand, they will never surrender." And the same spirit had been proved to be existed in the breasts of Australians, Canadians and Cape Loyalists who had fought and were fighting in South Africa. Applause. Major Eddy furnished a proof of this on the day he died at Pink Hill when he said, "Boys, the Wilts are in a tight place and we must cut them out, no matter what the cost." There was the unselfish character, the true patriotism of the soldier displayed by an Australian native. And did they not know that when the story was read in England, Ireland and Scotland, every reader must have felt a thrill of pride to know that these men from these southern climes had displayed the same spirit their ancestors had displayed? About it. There are only two men mentioned that went to China to fight against the Boxers, Pope and Walters. So I wonder if Lindsay's house is still standing with Mashadadorp on the front step. Alright, so now I've got to get across to the charming little hamlet of Murrumbina, to see my friend Christina. I met Christina in, had to be the early 80s. So those episodes I did about going to Africa, the jungle party, that was 86. Yeah, 86. She was at the jungle party, so I've known her that long. I don't know if she'll come on camera, but I bought her some Zulu coffee. Well, I bought Zulu coffee. I didn't know who might like it, but she's Italian. She likes coffee, so we're going to make up a Zulu brew when I get there. So we might include that in the episode of the Zulu brew. Here it is here. Right, Zulu brew. Don't expect much, but we'll see. Right, let's go across to Murrumbina. See you soon.